I'm now joined by our NFL insider, Connor Hughes. And Connor, Jets are off on Sunday. Monday, they're back at practice. Beginning of practice, a scary image occurred for Jets fans. Mekhi Becton limped off. We didn't see him the rest of practice. What are you hearing?
Yeah, so, I mean, look, if you're Joe Douglas, you want to be finding whatever your little lucky charm is tucked inside your nightstand and give it a little kiss, maybe send a thank you card to the football gods, because the Jets appear to have avoided, or at least they are hoping, they avoided a major scare with Mekhi Becton. He went down in team drills, grabbed his right knee. The surgically repaired right knee seemed to be in agonizing pain on the ground. Came up, immediately took off his shoulder pads, went right back inside with a trainer. We did not see him again.
Limping off. I mean, he was
he was
walking,
laboring. Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely, Jeanette. He was laboring. He was in significant pain. Now, the early word after talking to Robert Saleh is that it is not serious, and by serious we mean that the knee is stable. So normally after you suffer an injury like this, the trainers will go on and they'll move the kneecap around. Depending on the way that it moves, or if it moves, it'll tell them, look, the MRI is going to confirm it, but it's an ACL tear. Right now, what the Jets have said, and I've checked in with this, confirmed this with sources, is that the knee is stable. Now the question, though, is, while stable, is there any additional damage? It might not be a torn ACL, but is it a strained knee? Is it a sprained knee? Is there other ligament damage involved in there as well? From what I understand right now, the Jets are hoping, and they do not believe that it's even sprained. But now the question comes to, okay, they avoided the worst case scenario, but how long is Mekhi Becton going to be out? Are we talking days? Are we talking weeks? Or even if it's not a tear, could he potentially be out a month or two?
And this is what we saw week one of last season. We were told not structural, he's fine, he's not going to be out that long. Should there be a concern?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think because of his size, right? I mean, and Mekhi Becton's done a phenomenal job. I mean, Robert Saleh has said this. Mike LaFleur has said this. His ability to get himself...
lineman.
Exactly, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, and his ability to get himself in shape for the start of training camp has been a major feather in Mekhi Becton's cap, because he hasn't been able to do that in the past. Now it appears like he is in shape. But when you take a guy who is in shape, especially a guy this size, and you now say, okay, you can't do anything. No practicing, no physical, no condition. You can't do anything for a week. Well, 1 week for you and I, that's different than 1 week for Mekhi Becton. 2 weeks for you and I, that's very different from Mekhi Becton. That's one of the reasons why last year his 6 to 8 week injury went 17, 18 weeks, and it kept him even out of the offseason conditioning program last time. So with Mekhi Becton, the concern right now, again, is the Jets, and this is what Robert Saleh said, also talking to sources inside the building. They do not believe that there is any structural damage, as Saleh said. They also do not believe that it's even sprained or strained. They're waiting for the further confirmation. They're waiting to get that confirmation from the MRI. But again, if he is hurt, if there is something, and this is going to keep him off the field, how long will he be off the field? Because again, Mekhi Becton time is usually a little longer than a normal person.
And that leads into, who do you have backed up? How do you have backing him up? Yeah. And we saw at the green and white scrimmage, they had a guy on the sideline, Brown, who is a free agent. You know what? He needs to be signed correctly.
Again, we were just talking, thanking the football gods for the fact that this wasn't a serious injury. But look, I think this had to be. And I know Robert Saleh downplayed it.
I know the depth of the tackle position.
He sang the praises of Chuma Adaga. He sang the praises of Connor McDermott. But look, this was absolutely, undeniably should have been a wake-up call to the Jets, because if something happens to Mekhi Becton or something happens to George Fant, you're trusting the health of your young franchise quarterback, who this entire season's about, whose development this entire season is about, to Chuma Adaga and Connor McDermott. And those guys, look, they're okay depth pieces, they're okay backup pieces, but they are not who you want protecting the blind side or front side of Zach Wilson. So the Jets got very lucky last year when Morgan Moses was available after Washington cut him. They are very lucky right now that Dwayne Brown is still available. They had him in at the green and white scrimmage. They wined and dined him, had him take a physical. He met with the coaching staff yesterday.
They call him right now. Are they on the phone with him right now?
We saw Joe Douglas on the sideline here after Mekhi Becton went down, hands on his hips. As soon as he got inside, he should have had his phone out calling Dwayne Brown's agent saying, look, great visit. Let's bring him back in. Let's get this thing done. Because, again, this should have been the wake-up call that, look, it looks like you avoided the worst-case scenario. The knee is stable. We're just waiting on the timetable for recovery. However, it could have been a lot worse, and if it was worse, it's up to Adaga and McDermott. You do not want that. That is a potential season-derailing issue for the Jets. You got a guy out there who can help this team. You got a guy out there, the best life insurance policy available. Go sign him, give him the money he wants, and bring him in here in case this happens again. Because this was a wake-up call.
And they still have about a month until their week one regular season.
Yeah, so you can get him.
Time.
Yeah, get him in here, get him trained, get him a little bit in shape, and then obviously once he's in shape, you can say, okay, Dwayne, now you also know the offense, learn things. He obviously hasn't played for Robert Saleh or Mike LaFleur before, but look, I mean, it's the knee is stable. They hope it's not sprained or strained. They hope that he's going to be able to be back soon. But again, you don't know. And it was awful close to a season-ending injury, especially the way that it looked. And if that was the case, the Jets are in trouble. And you obviously don't want that to be the case when it doesn't have to be the case because Dwayne Brown's still available.
Yeah, wine and dine, wine and dine. All right, for Connor Hughes, I'm Jeane Coakley.